Talk us through this bee situation again. You brushed over that, but I've never heard of this except from you.
Bro, I got a text message saying, hey, I think we have a bee problem. And I'm like, oh, can you send me a photo? A whole swarm of bees. It wasn't like we have a bee problem. It's like, no, there's a bee emergency. Like in the soffits of the front home, right? There was just, you could, from the photo of my contractor's janky-ass Android. Yeah, I'll find it right now. I'm like, oh man, this is not just a bee problem. I'm like, this is an emergency because I think this was also within, I had just approved the tenants of taking that front home. Also, I had just told them like, oh yeah, you're going to get the keys May 1st. And this is like April 30th.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Pursuit of Property podcast. Today, we are joined with our good friend, co-worker from Iron Key and investor, Diego Hinojosa.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Dude.
Woo. Shout out Hinojosa Real Estate as well.
There you
Let's go, baby.
There you
Got
go.
our first property.
So Diego and I have known each other since pretty much when we got in the business at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
We started Iron Key together. Can you fill people in kind of what you do right now, and then we'll jump into how you got into real estate?
Definitely. I mean, full-time real estate agent, full-time investor, full-time developer, although we've never developed anything yet, but get in that in my mindset. But yeah, I've been in real estate for 5 years now, and prior to that, 2 years in new construction sales over there as well.
So 7 years of real estate experience?
Correct.
Which new construction company were you at?
Granville Homes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Probably the biggest powerhouse in Fresno.
How did you? I'm just curious because I never knew that.
Mm-hmm.
How did you like that compared to transferring, obviously, to out of new construction?
The coolest thing about working there was just saying you work there, pretty much, being connected to, the city a little bit and seeing new construction and buildings. But it's more like a job like corporate America, right? You have hours. You're never going to make buku bucks. You have a boss. You have two bosses. You have HR and all these different things. So I enjoyed it. I met a lot of great people. I learned a lot. But yeah, not for me.
Gotcha. So let's jump into that. I mean, you're a younger guy like us. You're a little bit older than us. But I mean, if you've been in real estate for 7 years, did you go right out of high school into it?
No, dude, no way. I actually started business after business after high school. I went to City College for a little bit. My probably most profitable business was a moving company, Alpaca Moving.
Oh, there you go.
And that was really cool because I did work at Granville for a short while I ran that, and it was that residual income, I guess. I'd get a notification that they'd finished the job because I had a few workers, and then
no way.
I'd make paper. Yeah, not enough money though to keep afloat.
Okay, hold up. Can we go back?
Yeah.
So you got out of high school, you were at City College, you were working at Granville, and then you had a group of guys facilitating the move. Like you weren't the mover yourself.
I was the mover at first because I had to teach the guys how to move because I worked for a separate moving company. Also, forget the name of it. They're not here in town anymore. So I learned how to move, and I realized, dude, the families would tell me like, "Oh yeah, I just paid $1,500," and then me and my partner made like $200 out of that $1,500. So I was like, I'm gonna start my own company, and yeah, I did well for a short term while.
Okay,
but actually, even prior to that, I was working at a car wash. So I've done a lot of different little odd jobs, dude.
Dang. And how did you get introduced to Granville?
So at the time, I was going to City College. Shout out Miss Balakian. It was a entrepreneurship class. We had a project where basically it was a big end of the year project, kind of on your dream field and what you want to do, which mine was like, I want to develop. I want to help create housing here in Fresno. And I kind of BS'd my way into an interview with Darius Assemi, the owner of Granville, and kind of was saying, hey, you're the biggest developer in town. I look up to you. I have a project. Is there any way I can interview you? Straight up went into his office, similar to this, over down on Herndon. Interviewed him. Still have that interview. I recorded it on my phone. Still have it. Still listen to it. And at the very end, I was like, hey, if you guys are ever hiring, I'd love to help you out and would work for free. And he sent me to a sales manager immediately, and kind of the rest is history.
Dude.
That's freaking. And did you start out working for free or did?
No. Thank God.
Well, but dude, I think that's really, really cool. Like you put it out there and you were willing to work for free. Like you were willing to grind and provide value to somebody in order to learn and gain knowledge. Like, bro, that's what we preach all the freaking time for finding mentors or finding, people to connect with in this real estate field is, bro, go find somebody that you can provide value to and have it kind of be that mutually beneficial relationship. So that's freaking dope, dude.
Did you graduate?
Just high school.
So what's your higher education look like? You were at City College. Did you ever get an AA?
Nope. I just checked the box that says some college when I fill out any
I
documents.
do the same thing. Oh, cool, man. Okay, so then you got into normal sales. That's when I started. So you and I started in traditional real estate sale. And talk us through kind of how that looked, because that has to be very different than what you originally expected.
Yeah, it was definitely slower than I was hoping, right? I was hoping to take off and a million miles an hour and be a superstar, right? But as we all know, it's a business, and you just like any other business, you got to lay brick by brick. But it was been fun. I came straight to Iron Key, already had a few friends there, and they mentored me along the way, and you know Brandon and how great they are over there. So it was first year I maybe sold 5 homes, and I remember the first one I went immediately to go party in Old Town Clovis, and I was turning up. And but yeah, 5 homes obviously isn't enough to keep afloat. So then we just kept the foot on the pedal, and year by year just keep growing and growing and growing, and have expanded to off-market deals that you guys know about. Have expanded to everything I can.
Dude.
Commercial, ag.
What was the first deal like? You said you went and partied. Was it hard? Was the deal itself hard?
It was hard because I didn't have a TC. And then I did, and then it was a out-of-town brokerage that was a flipper that also had a lending company, an escrow company, and all these different things. So then I had extra forms to fill out that I didn't know how to fill out. What was that?
Was it a Wedgwood sale?
No, it was Maxim Homes, which is now, I think, Breckenridge?
Yeah, the Wedgwood.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They go by a whole bunch of different
Polly
names.
Watts. Do you remember that name, Polly Watts?
No.
She was like one of the top agents in town that no one ever knew because she was just flipping them. She was just listing the flips.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So that was your first deal?
Yep. Very difficult. Very difficult.
So you partied it up?
Partied it up, though, yeah.
Gotta treat yourself after those hard deals, bro. Yeah. Bro, sometimes better than the money is when is just having like the anxiety of those hard deals.
Looking back at it,
dude.
It wasn't that hard because we've dealt with such harder transactions, and that one just the first one, mental capacity was like, oh my gosh, but it was just thinking back, it was easy.
Yeah,
buyers are grateful. $100,000 equity.
Boom. Hey, there you go.
Yep. Well, dude, I'm really excited because I know obviously you shared now you've transitioned to, in addition to real estate sales, now digging into the investment world. And I want to talk about your duplex, bro, because I don't know anything about the backstory. I don't know how you found the deal, how it's performing, what you're doing with it, dude. So can you start with just how you sourced the deal?
I would love to. So actually well over a year ago, I got pre-approved FHA for my first home. I was, hitting the phones hard, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, basically what I want, my first property. Hitting them hard.
On market?
On and off.
I
pulled a list and just started hitting them up. You guys that know how it goes, half the time they answer, half the time you have wrong numbers, half the time right, so on and so forth. So made some great connections. They're still in my database. None of them have sold to this day. I still connect, I don't know, with about half a dozen. There's one that I think I'm still going to pick up. But, like I said, that was over a year ago, and I'm sitting there, and it's in December of 2022, like, man, I didn't hit my one biggest goal of the whole year, which was to buy this property. 23 rolls around. I'm working with my investor. I've got a couple investors to work with, and he's like, Diego, I'm really tired of having doors, being a property manager. If you ever find a deal, if you know anybody that's looking to finance a property, send it over. You already know the numbers I'm looking for. Just send it over. And it was like a gift from God. I was like, perfect. And then literally, that was a Monday. Wednesday, we're having our sales meeting. My friend Mary in the office says, hey, I've got a fixer-upper coming up on the market. It's, it's a 4-bed, 2-bath home, and it's got a back house. It probably is cash only. It's unpermitted. All these, it's in pretty bad shape. Probably cash only, maybe a hard money loan, et cetera, et cetera. I immediately go up to Mary after that meeting, like, hey, what are you guys thinking on price? Can you tell me any specifics? She takes me over to the property. I immediately love it. I think the price was $250, $255. Well, we got in contract at $250, offered initially $250 to take it off market. Not before they go on market, they said $255. I said deal. So I bought it for $255. The interest-only payments right now from my investor, which helps cash flow right now, currently with the back unit and front unit are both occupied. So it took about 90 days from me purchasing it in the beginning of March to just as of June 1st, completely finished.
Yeah. Well, can we go back? Let's talk about, how did this relationship with this investor happen? Because most people don't get the financing you get on your first deal the way you did.
Yeah, 3 years. 3 years of relationships with this investor, of me continuously finding more deals for him, He was telling me, you're the only real estate agent that's ever checked up on after the transaction. You're the only real estate agent who continuously sends me deals, good or bad. So he just really appreciates me. He's almost, I don't want to call him uncle, but he's like,
I like it.
He was in your sphere. That basically you were representing him
as a buyer.
Yeah.
But and just take a whole step back. That buyer, he came to me as a lead for my manager, Maurice, in the office, who at the time was getting Realtor.com leads. He was really busy, right? 2019, super busy, right? The market's booming, the inventory was there. He's like, I can't handle this. Sends me his lead. And I followed up, of course, right? And it took maybe 8 months to a year after that lead for us to close the deal, but it didn't matter. We just kept in contact, kept going. I think we ended up locking up 2 with him. And like I said, we were looking for the 3rd, and he was like, I just don't even want to. I already have 15 doors.
Yeah.
I'll finance.
That's crazy. So this was like a complete stranger lead that over the 3 years of really just working hard and doing good work for this guy, he was the one who reached out to you and said, I'll lend a deal for you because I don't want to be the property manager. I want to be the private money lender.
Correct. He just wants the cash checks.
Dude. So what were the terms? Because obviously you didn't end up using your FHA. You bought this duplex with private money.
Correct.
Did you borrow the full 255? Did you borrow over?
Yeah.
What kind of terms were you paying?
Borrowing $275.
Nice.
So $20K in rehab. And initially he had told me, no, I don't want to finance the rehab. I want you to finance the rehab yourself, which was fine. I started financing it, put some of it on credit, started doing some of the legwork myself, cutting the lawns, trimming the trees, everything I could. That was myself.
Yeah.
I trenched a whole bunch of stuff, but money ran out. And then I'm like freaking out. And shout out to the guy working on the home, Ed. He's best buds with the lender. He told the lender, he's like, I think he's running low. Give him a call. He gave me a call, and it was just like a gift, another gift. He's like, bro, I got you. He's like, this is the terms, and you're still going to cash flow. I ran the numbers like 4 times. I was like, bro, it'd be ridiculous not to take this money, how cheap it is, cheaper than a credit card right now or anything like that. So
right.
I said, thank you. Thanks, Theo. We wrote up another note on that and finished the rehab with that.
That's really interesting. So you're saying that you borrowed the 255. He had pushed back and said you need to finance the rehab. Mm-hmm. When I walked the duplex with you, you were still in the early stages and you were like, hey, here's where we're at. I was wildly impressed with how clean the units were. Mm-hmm. Based off what you had told me, I thought they were going to be in way worse shape. But then budget runs over, pretty common. Mm-hmm. And then the contractor, going based off like the fact that you're there like trenching holes and stuff, he was like, hey, like he called his friend the lender and said, like, hook him up.
Basically.
Relationships. How do you know the contractor?
So they're like best buds. So anytime we would go look at a potential investment property. Contractor's coming. He's coming. Yeah. We all end up, I don't know, we've had a couple of beers between then and me buying this duplex. Like, yeah.
Dude, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
And are you comfortable sharing do you have the same terms on both of those notes on the original 255 and then the additional 20? Or
no.
How are those structured?
Yeah, it's 8% interest only on the 255 and the 20 grand, I think it's 12%.
Gotcha.
You have your 250 at
8%.
Yeah,
that's cheaper than any money I've ever borrowed.
For sure, bro. That's why I look at the refi. I'm like, man, I'm going to lose out on cash flow, but nah, I got to pay down that principal.
So both of those are interest only right now.
Correct.
And you're waiting. What's your cash flow like right now with paying interest only on those 2 notes?
A little over $1,100.
And what do they rent for?
$3,200. So I have one family renting out both units.
Wow.
Dude.
Yeah.
How did you vet the family for the rental?
So Zillow.com, man. I as a realtor, I hate Zillow, but as a property owner, the screening process for
is
renters
really
is not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. They get your credit score, they get the pay stubs, they do a background check. I could have paid for the premium service. I just did the free and all.
So that was a free service through Zillow for landlords, throwing it up for rent, and you were able to vet.
I had
with the help of
20 plus
Zillow,
applications come in.
all of that.
Checked all the incomes, and narrowed it down to about 5 families whose incomes were there, credits were there, histories were there, no delinquents, all this good stuff. Invited them for a tour. As I was there, I was like saying, hey, we're finishing up the back unit. It should be done in another 2 weeks. If you know anybody that wants to rent in the back, please fill it out on Zillow. And this one particular family is like, that'd be perfect for my parents. My parents are living away from us in a small-ass apartment. And I was like, please immediately send out the application to your parents to fill it out tonight because I have to make a choice within the next 2 days
about
who's going to get these keys. Filled it out. Income was there. They were there.
Dude.
Good people. Plus, you know, like I said, just not having to worry about two separate families.
Yeah.
And the
Fighting.
you know, whose yard to pick up your dog poop, tell your kids to be quiet. I didn't want those issues. So one family, perfect.
Wow, 3,200.
3,200.
That's
and
fantastic.
1,100 in basically your mortgage, your private money,
Is 1950,
1,950.
including cash in.
And you're self-managing?
Self-managing right now.
Okay. Let's go back and talk about when you first found this deal, because this is when I had heard about it. You had called me and you said, hey, like, bro, like, I want to do it. What were you feeling when you had originally had that deal? Because when you called me, you were just kind of getting my advice.
Right.
But it seemed like at that point, you'd already done a lot of thinking about it.
Right. First, before I go into that, I just want to say shout out to you, Scott and Cade, both of you guys. Being able to lean on you guys is great. Being able to call and just have these questions. You gave me the confidence to actually pursue that property. You told me on the phone, like, that's a fucking slam dunk deal. Buy it. So shout out to you guys. That kind of goes back to relationships, right? We always be good people. But yeah, I had thought about it over and over. I kind of already had a gist about how to run numbers to make sure it's not hard to, especially for my lender being interest only and knowing how he is. Like, it wasn't hard to figure out what it was going to be. But just ran the numbers. I was like, bro, this seems like big cash flow and not like $400, not $300. So just called you, bro, and you kind of answered what I had already answered, but just made me feel more confident.
So, and that's what I was going to say. Sometimes you like, especially putting in all that homework and even feeling confident and maybe a little bit nervous, right? But hearing it from somebody else and like
that's doing
like
it,
you were
actually
saying,
had done it, yeah.
And Scott was like, "Bro, slam dunk deal." It's like, bro, fuck yeah, let's go. And
What I'm
freaking do it,
hinting
dude.
at is that like so many people I know looking to buy their first investment property are so panicked. And I remember when we bought ours, how panicked we were. And we've shared it multiple times. We almost canceled a deal that turned out like we still own them. If you look on that whiteboard, they're all paying. The ones that we wanted to cancel are paying. The ones that aren't paying were ones that we shouldn't have bought. But like it's a panicking moment when you realize you're about to make that leap. And I know that when you called me, you literally you spit out all the numbers that you just told me now, but they were at that time like, hey, this is what I think it's going to do. And I remember being like, why are you calling me? Like, this is a slam dunk. Like, if you don't buy it, I'll buy it, I think is what I said. And you were like, no, I'm going to buy it. I wanted to just double check. And I'm like, dude, freaking do it. And like 2 weeks later, you're like, bro, I did it. And I was like, yes.
Yeah, dude. Shout out Scott. Shout out Kate.
So talk through then, what was it like when the budget started going over? Because that can't be easy.
Yeah, so we had estimated like 15 to 20K because you saw the property, right? We were both thinking it's not that bad
really
of shape.
clean.
We were
Yeah.
thinking, just paint the front house, clean up some of the loose ends, and then the back house was going to be a majority of the cash. Kind of ended up being a lot more, right? We start opening up things. I'm sure you saw, I don't know if Cade saw, tell your viewers, we had a big ass bee situation. The bees infiltrated the whole home. We had to cut out drywall, and thank goodness for the beekeeper, took him away with $300 for that, but of course drywall and all that other stuff. But yeah, it just started going over budget when it came to us realizing this whole exterior of the home is made of wood siding and not like that PVC plastic new siding, and it's all
Not the hardboard.
not the hardboard. Like, we were scraping it because we were getting ready to paint it, and the whole things were just breaking apart,
Crumbling
apart. Had been there for at least 50 years. So siding, all of a sudden we were buying siding. All of a sudden we realized we needed to drop in or move the washer and dryer from one portion to the other portion of the house. Miscellaneous things, right? Just ticky-tacky things that add up.
Yeah.
Plus, in the time crunch, we had to get extra crew on deck. So, of course, extra crew costs more money.
Yeah. What was that like? Talk us through this bee situation again. You brushed over that, but I've never heard of this except from you.
Bro, I got a text message saying, hey, I think we have a bee problem. And I'm like, oh, can you send me a photo? A whole swarm of bees. It wasn't like we have a bee problem. It's like, no, there's a bee emergency. Like in the soffits of the front home, right? There was just, you could, from the photo of my contractor's
Do you have the photo?
jank-ass Android. Yeah, I'll find it right now. I'm like, oh man, this is not just a bee problem. I'm like, this is an emergency, because I think this was also within, I had just approved the tenants of taking that front home. Also, I had just told them like, oh yeah, you're gonna get the keys May 1st, and this is like April 30th. And then, but I called them. They understood. I'm like, you guys don't want to move in a house that's full of bees right now, so they understood. I'm looking for the photo right now. But yeah, so that was another time crunch. Is like, okay, we're at the 12th hour, and now we have a situation that can't just be fixed with paint.
Yeah,
and it can't be fixed with the contractor.
It can't be fixed later.
And it can't be fixed later.
Yeah.
Like, well, then that was the other thing. It was construction couldn't go on because there was so many bees.
Yeah.
The bee guy was like, this isn't one colony, this is 3 colonies. I'm trying to find
How
it.
does that even happen? Did he explain how that even happened?
Was it there when you walked the
Yeah.
property?
No, this is
No,
like
he said,
I had walked the property prior to this whole bee situation
What?
happening.
yeah, he said it looks like they had been there for at least 2 weeks due to the size of the honeycomb, because the
Yeah.
honeycomb was,
Huge.
call it 3 feet long, in between the framing of the 2x6 or 2x4s.
If you can't find
here
it,
we
that's
go.
okay.
Oh
my.
shit.
Show the camera, guys. Oh my! Can he show the camera? Can you see it on that one?
We'll put it in the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
So that was quite the. He found 3 queens, or no, 1 queen. But yeah,
That's crazy. So you guys solved that. One of the things that I was going to ask you about, because you and I were talking throughout kind of the process, like, did you have a lot of those moments where it was just like the stress, like, seemed like it peaks at like a super high level and then it comes down quickly?
definitely.
What was that whole pattern like? Because I know when we have our deals, there seems to be that a high peak and valley, and it's like a constant rebounding effect. Did you have that?
I mean, the peak was definitely going to Stephanie's office and signing the docs, right? That was the peak. I was playing Nipsey Hussle. I was like, I'm dressing fresh today. And I was like, I'm calling it a day after this. That was for sure one of the peaks. Second peak, giving the keys and then seeing them move in. Like, I went to the house the other day and seeing the furniture and the kids are happy. Like, that's awesome to see. But some of the lows, obviously the B situation, right? Running out of money, having that awkward conversation with the lender, like, yeah, I'm kind of broke right now. We've got like $15K more worth of work to do. So this, like, that is a knee jerk. Like, I don't want to be on the phone explaining that to somebody, but
Yeah.
you know, you just come correct and people understand. Investors understand, especially, I think. So those are some of the lows. Plus, just like feeling bad because at that time, also, I couldn't pay the workers. So I'm out there working with them, and I feel bad because we just finished a fucking 12-hour job, and I can't even give them money.
Waiting on funds.
Waiting
Yeah.
on funds, but they came in.
Dude.
What would-
Wow.
There's always a way.
That's kind of a crazy story too, because I've never gone out and done the work next to our contractors. First off, because I probably break everything. But second off, I haven't been put in the spot where I had to. What was that like? I mean, you're sitting here, you just were playing Nipsey Hussle, you freaking bought a house, you're
Feeling
a young
like a
guy,
baller, and then
right?
next thing
And the
I
next
know-
thing you know, you're out there
Trenching
grinding
holes and
building up
grinding
like
through
a
concrete.
IOU debt. Like, what was that like?
I mean, hard labor is fulfilling. And then I think, I don't know. I was like a matter of, I just have to do this. It wasn't a matter of me thinking or what's
Yeah.
this feel like, or I feel like a loser. I was like, I just have to do this. Let's just get it done. I was out there, last Friday, cutting the lawn.
Yeah, you seem to lean into the struggle. Like, you're constantly hustling.
Yeah.
I like that about you.
I just, long life, man. It's been a long life, and this wasn't even the hardest thing I've ever dealt with, so.
Bro, I love that. Dude, I want to transition and ask, I want to rebound a little bit back to, because you had mentioned really quickly refinancing, right? And I know for Scott and I, we use private money on all of, on the rentals we bought as well. And it's been really great, our relationship with our lender, because, sometimes there's like a term limit set on these interest only payments, right? Like, hey, it's a 6-month term. Sometimes no prepayment penalties. If you want an extension, it's going to cost X amount, right? I think we still have, it's been 2+ years, and we still have one of our interest money loans out, and we have not refinanced yet for a few reasons. But I wanted to ask you, what's going through your head because obviously at some point, this thing is going to need to be refinanced, right? Because for, again, to reiterate, interest only payments, all that is just money on top that's going to the person who lent you the money. It's not going
Chipping at the principal, yeah.
chipping down at the principal, that $275 that you owe, right? So what's going through your head? What's kind of your thought process moving forward with going through with refinance?
Definitely. Well, I'll just say this. I got a 5-year term of interest only. So appreciation only will save my ass. I love Fresno, man. We're going up crazy in value. So appreciation only will save me and be able to refinance me, right?
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, the lender doesn't appraise it, or I can't refi it today, or the rates, right? Rates are kind of crazy. I'm like, I have 4.5 more years to go.
You're a freaking baller.
But I want to refi ASAP low key though, so I can use his money again and
reuse and
keep
recycle.
doing it. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you've got that 5-year bailout period where like you have so much time, the likelihood that you couldn't, after making 3 years of consistent interest only payment, find a replacement lender and say, hey, client X, Y, or Z, like I have a client who wants his money out because he's doing whatever. Do you want to take over this $1,950 a month and still have your full $275 coming back to you?
Right.
Remind me, did we have a conversation about your refinance when we talked? Because I remember you and I had talked about this when I was sitting at a restaurant or something like that.
I don't think we did.
So where does your deal have to pencil to get your money out at this point?
Yeah, I was just doing the math again yesterday. I think it's like 368 to be 75% of
366, 666.
Yeah.
So you right now, what do you think the house is worth?
So the front home being a 4-bed, 2-bath, it's fairly great condition, new floor and a lot of good stuff. It's not like a janky home. I think at last comps I ran it were about 315 to 325.
That sounds perfectly right. Yeah.
And then I was speaking with an appraiser. I think I had this conversation too with you the other day. I was asking him, this back. I was hypothetically. I wasn't saying this is my home. I was saying, what if I have a buyer that has a back unit, right? And it's it's not permitted. How do you appraisers see that? And he was like, well, if it's unpermitted, we're just going to technically count it as a bonus room. But if you don't tell the appraiser that, half the time they're just going to assume it's a included, it's grandfathered in, it's on permits, whatever. So just don't say it.
Yeah. I'll say my experience with that neighborhood, because right when you bought that house, I was like, dude, I just bought a house on Grant right down the street. That house on Grant it went with 14 offers at 325.
Luke's.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
beautiful home.
I think that your house, after walking yours, I think you should have no problem even getting 366 right now. Is there any strategy with the interest rates? Are you going to try to like play the waiting game, or are you just going to go right away?
Just wait for the waiting game, at least for the end of the year, right? Winter.
Yeah.
I feel like the rates always come down a little bit in the winter. We've seen it past couple of years. So just want to see where we're at towards the winter.
Okay.
Dude, and with a 5-year term, was that negotiated with you, or was that the lender saying,
the
hey,
lender straight up was saying that, like,
dude, that's freaking awesome.
Dude, fantastic. Well, let's talk about, we're going to make a transition here before we wrap up. A lot of the guys listening are young, real estate investors or agents. I mean, you're a prime example of like putting in the work, being willing to take out the risk when times get tough, just work hard and figure it out. Like a lot of people right now, they're saying you can't buy a house right now because, interest rates, prices, XYZ, you can't make anything pencil. What would you tell them?
I mean, when everyone's going left, you got to go right. When everyone's looking up, you got to look down. We see all these bigger companies buying homes, right? We see all these giant investment firms buying homes right now. So that's just that food that they want to sell you to keep to the sideline. I would say just do it. If the deal pencils out, just do it. If you really want to get into investing or whatever, your career is, just no one's up opening that door, kick it down.
There you go. And any thoughts about anybody right now who might be in that spot where they bought a deal and it's not going how they expect?
Send it my way, I might buy
it. Bring Diego your deals that are going south, baby.
Dude, Diego goes, I pay cash, any condition.
Any condition, just pencil it out. But no, if there's a will, there's always a way, and if you can't find that way, ask somebody who is smarter, has done more than you, more transactions, right? There's always help out there. Like I mentioned, you guys, right? I even called Corbin before I bought that deal. I called several people just to triple, quadruple confirm.
Yeah.
So there's always people that are smarter than us that can help us.
Yeah.
Dude, as we wrap up, I want to make a quick point too, bro, because you had said 2022, by the end of the year, the goal was to buy
a duplex.
Right? And at the end of 2022, it didn't end up happening, right? And I know for all of us here who kind of set those goals, especially end of the year goals, like this year, I want to freaking do big things, and it doesn't end up happening. I know it can be like, a little bit of an emotional like setback,
for
bro,
sure,
and a mental setback. So, but you were still doing all of the things and planting all of those seeds to where, boom, when first thing 2023 came around, there it is, waiting to start off the year right, dude. So what is in store the rest of this year for your goals, and what are you really looking forward to growing and building off the momentum from this duplex?
Definitely want to buy another duplex, if not a 4-unit. 2 to 4 units is another one I want to buy. And then after that, my plan is to start developing, essentially, with some of the partners that I have right now. I've got a few properties in line. I think we were talking about one the other day in downtown that we can potentially plan on just adding more value. I love Fresno. We've got a housing shortage. We've got a housing problem. No one's going to save us. And I feel I've got the gusto to do it. And I want to just create more housing for people. Affordable housing, good housing, safe housing, new stuff. Because we are a beautiful city that are controlled by a select few. And we just got to go out there and change it.
Dude, I love this about you. I think what would be cool too, followers should all follow you because you keep a pretty active social media and you always have really cool development ideas. What's the best way for people to get following you?
Yeah, Diego Fuego Hinojosa on Instagram. You can text me if you ever need to text me or call me, 559-917-5453, especially if you're looking to sell your home.
Let's go.
Or buy a home. I got you guys.
Well, Diego, thanks for coming on to the podcast. We will have to have you back on soon. We have a lot of irons in the fire, so we'll have another deal to break down soon.
Let's do it. Bro, Diego, thank you, dude.
Thank you, guys. Everyone listening, don't give up on your dreams. Just keep going. It's timing.
Boom.
Let's go.